All right, grace and peace, guys. Kdub back again for another video review. I have been subscribed to a YouTube channel, Atheist YouTube channel. Their channel is called Talk Heathen. They're out of Austin, and they, do a variety of videos, mainly on the topic of theism, Christian theism. And I find quite their perspective quite interesting. I've been watching for some time, never commenting, just watching for my own interest. And so I thought I'd do a video review. They have a video they did in late December, so a month and a half ago, on can we have absolute certainty? And the title is called "Can We Have Absolute Certainty, and What Does That Mean?" And I think it's pretty interesting when atheists even answer that question, because I think there's some contradictory things, from our perspective. I know they would disagree, but that's why I'm doing a video review. By the way, I would love to dialogue with them. I would actually want to do it in studio because they live in Austin. I'm in the Dallas area, but Austin's not far. I got friends in Austin, so it wouldn't be nothing just to schedule something like that. If they're willing, I don't know. I don't know if they've ever done anything like that. Not from my perspective. It's always been when the guests are atheists, but just throwing that out there just in case they see this and say, hey, we would like to dialogue as well. I'm willing, just for the record. But I'm going to play this video and respond to it. Before I respond, I do want to give some book recommendations for the Christians that are watching this video. You got The Defense of the Faith by Cornelius Van Til. Read it. That's very high level stuff. If you feel like you need a stepping stone to that, check out Greg Bonson's work, Always Ready. There's numerous books to read on this subject that can get you an entry level in apologetics. Check out my channel. I have a lot of videos with my pastor, Emilio Ramos, and even myself, engaging with unbelievers or people who do not share the same perspective or worldview. So a lot right there. But let's get into this video and let's engage with this.
Right.
So anyway, who would you like to talk to next?
Let's talk to Nimklau in Norway.
Ooh. How do we say your name?
Nimklau. Sorry, it's not actually my name. I use it on Discord.
Okay.
Hey.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think, most people I talk to there are decent folks, but I never know if anyone will. Any of them will try to dox me if I use my name. Like they know I'm Norwegian, that I'm 25, and that I'm male, and that's it. And I like to keep it that way, in case they're watching.
This guy has a really thick accent, so I will repeat what's being said, because I know that could be difficult just for you listening. What I struggle with it too. It's not his fault. I mean, we're Americans. So yeah, I'll repeat what he's saying, or to my best ability.
Okay, well, Nimklau is perfectly fine as a name. So what can we help you with?
So I'm an atheist, and I have been on various debate servers and talk to theists and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I had a quick question about absolute certainty that I hope you could help me with.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. What's up?
Also, sorry if I'm mumbling. A bit nervous. Anyway.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so the question is, I'm a big fan of Matt Dillahunty and of you guys, and I've heard you say on various episodes that, you can't really, attain absolute certainty in the ultimate sense because, hard solipsism and whatnot. But at the same time, isn't there instances where you can say that you do know for certain? For example.
Okay, so just to clarify what he's saying, so he's saying he's listened to the show a lot. He's listened to them, Matt Dillahunty, and they are always kind of given a hard solipsism position that you can't know anything for certain. They're going to contradict themselves in this own statement, but and then he's going to go on and articulate, well, aren't there some things we know as atheists? You know what I'm saying? And so he's going to give an example, but I'm sure he would even argue that there is even more things we know, and the I know they don't like presuppositionalism, but the presuppositionalist position isn't that atheists don't know anything. Actually, you do know things. You know many things. But the argument is, according to your worldview, you don't know anything, which they admit. but you don't live consistently with your worldview. You actually live every day in the Christian worldview. And I'll give a further argument for that, but I'm just clarifying what's being argued right now so you guys watching know what's being said.
Let's say that I was talking to a theist, and they asked me, "Oh, do you know anything to be true?" And I could say, "Well, for example, I know that I'm not your God because God can't lie." And I just told you I'm not God. So if I was God, I would be lying to you, and that can't happen. Or, I know for a fact that I can't know everything, and I can't be wrong about that, because if I was wrong, that meant I did know everything, and that's paradoxical. So
Okay.
that.
Very true. Two things you know. You know you're not God, and you know you're not omniscient. I would agree with those things. But why or how, I think, is our kind of argument. But I'll let him respond too.
Always confused me.
Sure. So I'm not even looking at the chat, and I know, but somebody's going to say "cogito ergo sum."
What?
I think, therefore I am.
So let's remember the question. Don't we know things? And I'll let him even get further, just to be fair.
Oh yeah.
That you recognize yourself as a thinking being, and while you may be dreaming, while you may be wrong, while you may be experiencing everything in a way that is absolutely untrue, the fact that you're going through it is indicative that at least you're there. You might be a brain in a vat. We might not exist. You can't really tell if you want to go that way. But cogito ergo sum.
But I don't even think that gets to the heart of the question, because how do you know you're there? You're saying, well, I think, therefore I am. I mean, other videos you guys talk about the Matrix. How do you know the thoughts that you're having are actually your own thoughts, and not someone feeding them into you, in that, from that way? How do you know your thoughts are yours? I don't think if you start from the perspective, well, we can't even know anything for certain except that we exist. Well, how do you know that? Why is that the axiom that we all got to start at? You know what I'm saying? And I don't think you can say, you don't know anything for certain and then argue that you do know one thing for certain. I mean, I get what you guys are trying to say, so I'm not gonna be too hard on that. But I mean, you gave one thing. You guys agree with this initial point. We don't know anything for certain, and then right now you just argue that you are knowing something for certain, that you exist because of the thoughts that you're having. But I would even push back on that, saying, how do you know your thoughts are real? How do you know those are your thoughts and not someone else's, or not someone feeding them into you via Matrix or brain in the vat, as you guys like to bring up?
I guess. Other things are abstract concepts that we create, and when we apply them.
So it sounds like he believes that we create truth. We create realities. So I would really, that's why I would love to dialogue with this guy. Seems like a nice guy from the videos I watch. He seems to be level headed in the sense of he doesn't blow up. Just from the videos I watch, I'll give him credit. But if we're the ones who create our truths, create our realities, create that which is lowercase t, as they like to say, nothing is inherently wrong. It's just what we arbitrarily say is wrong. So, yeah, you can't argue. You can't really argue against anything. I mean, the best you have is your subjective opinion, but to get mad over your subjective opinion would be, absurd. I mean, I like strawberry ice cream. I'm not really a big fan of some other ice creams. I don't get heated if someone tell me chocolate or vanilla is the best ice cream. Okay, I'll move on with my day. So to even get into these kind of conversations, matter of fact, the question already assumes there is absolute truth. Can we have absolute certainty? I mean, if you say no, you just said yes. You just contradicted yourself. To say no, we can't have absolute certain, means you know things for certain. So yeah.
definition, then we can say it is what it is. Things like numbers. When we agree that an abstract concept, but again, that's not.
And right there, his definition of truth, lowercase even, is things we agree upon. Yeah, I guess he would argue that the mathematics that we actually are doing, and even other concepts or ideas, ideologies, aren't necessarily inherently true, but agreed upon truths. So truth is actually determined by consensus, majority. I'm not really sure. Society. But you can never know. So from his perspective, you can never know something is wrong now unless you're out of that society, that generation, right? So I bring this up often, with things like transatlantic slavery. If he was in that age, he would have to argue that it was morally okay, right? Majority agreed upon it. Lots of people agreed upon it. It's only now he would think it's wrong. Not because it's inherently wrong to beat someone, to mistreat them, to steal them from their land. He doesn't believe that's inherently wrong. It's just arbitrarily, what we've decided as a society, and now it's subjectively wrong. But not because slavery in itself is wrong. In 50 years it could be right again from his worldview. Yikes.
Those aren't factual things in the world. Those are descriptors and tools that we create to help us understand things. But when it comes to anything other than that, no, and we don't have a system to prove a thing true.
There you go. I think I was a very, you represented him rightly when I just argue what I did. He does not, and I agree with him fully. The atheistic system, the skeptic humanist system does not have a worldview to say anything is wrong. I would even argue with him even further that you can't even know you're here on the basis of your worldview. You're actually not being consistent. Just with the argument I gave earlier. According to your worldview. Now, I don't think you live like that. I think you live every day, not operating upon that basis of your worldview. You actually live like there are things that are true. If I was on the show, and I wouldn't do this, guys, but if I slapped y'all's computer, not mock your mics around, you would, hey, you're destroying my property, and I'd say, hey, you can't know anything for certain that I did was wrong. You would call the cops on me, rightly so. Not because society deems it immoral, but because you believe I did something that was inherently wrong. I destroyed your property. I'm sure you take your property serious. Not on the basis of your worldview. It's just, I don't know how you can take things, property serious from your worldview, or people serious. They're just evolved protoplasms, evolved stardust, or whatever language. I don't know. Whatever language you use on that, your views of evolution. People aren't inherently meaningful, so their property isn't inherently meaningful as well. So on that basis, I don't think you live consistently with your worldview. I'm thankful for that. It really shows the inconsistency of your worldview, for one. But also for Christians who are listening, this is the contact point. We are to show that the atheist, the fool, says there is no God. And that is not an intellectual demeaning, like, oh, atheists are idiots. No, oftentimes atheists are a lot smarter than Christians. I think it was Greg Bonson who said that atheists can count. Oftentimes they can count better than Christians, but the atheists cannot account for their accounting, meaning they cannot justify their worldview. They could be right on a lot of things, but cannot justify the why. And he just demonstrated that.
We have ways to prove a thing false,
and I would say you don't, because falsehood and truth go together. The reason why things are false is because you know the reality of a thing. If I know what a counterfeit dollar bill is, that I have to know what the reality is. I have to know the truth of the authenticity of a dollar bill. That seems pretty reasonable. that the way you know things is false is because you know the objectivity of something, you know the reality, the truthhood of that which you're claiming. Oh no, this is not the real thing, you know.
Capital T truth is not something that we really have access to.
Right.
So I would say this, what he's saying is not capital T truth. It's just his lowercase t truth, his truth. But it may not, he would have to argue everything he's saying and everything on his YouTube channel is not capital T truth. He would have to admit that, which means he's just giving his arbitrary, subjective opinion.
Right. So that's where the confidence levels and so on comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So,
and I would even argue confidence level, you would have to have, same thing with the truth level. You would have to know something, the truth of it to know, you know, your confidence level, percentage level, whatever language you want to use.
hopefully that helps. We probably didn't give you anything new, but
and that's really all of it. But that's the first video I've engaged with, and I definitely want to engage with more videos. Hopefully they see my video. Hopefully they want to engage with me. I'm more than willing, guys, just in case you're watching this saying, who's this guy think he is? Hey, I'm nobody. Just a Christian who cares for truth, capital T truth. Because I believe the things I'm saying, I believe truth is actually, I believe things, you know, aren't based on generation. They aren't based on society. I believe that it's inherently wrong always to, to murder for fun, things like that, to kill for fun. And so I don't believe that's a lowercase truth. I believe that's an absolute. So we would disagree on abs or not ought or what is it? Yeah, just the we would disagree on, are there oughts people are commanded to live by? You would say no. But then I don't see why you can punish people. I'm sure you're pro, justice. I mean, but why be just for justice if there actually isn't inherently a thing they're doing that's wrong? It's just the best way I can say it from your worldview is just the arbitrary, subjective, your opinion, and so, like I said, guys, Christians, get those books, check out Van Til, check out Bonson. Hit me up in the comments if you want something a little more applicable to read. Maybe not as high level. Like I said, I think Bonson's easier to read. There's debates to watch where I think are great. Can't remember the atheist name, but James White debated him. Can't remember his name right now, but I'm sure if you type in James White atheist, he'll be one of the guys that pops up. But yeah, if you guys have any questions for me, you guys know I'm available. Hit me up in the comment section, like this video, and share it, guys. Grace and peace.